All right, welcome back to Troop TV. I'm your host, David Nava. I'm here with Peter Van Brady and Brandon Brashears. And in order to reach Peter, and this is www.SoCalVAHomes.org, and his number is 800-883-1278, extension 586. And of course, the number and the website will be listed at the beginning, at the end of the credits. So back to Peter. We were discussing at the last segment challenges, and mentioned that, which is a very important aspect in LA County, the maximum amount of the VA guarantee is what, $675,000?
On the break, we looked that up. It's actually a little higher than we thought. Yeah, $675.
Which is substantial for this county. And yeah, so Peter, go ahead.
Yeah, we don't often see veterans who are qualified for those lofty loan amounts and want to buy homes.
Yes.
That are because these are homes that used to be, $1.2 million, $1.4 million 6 years ago, 5 years, 4 years ago. It's a big home. So again, the biggest challenge that our men and women face who have the benefit and want to use the benefit is actually getting under contract, because they are there is just resistance in the marketplace to work with them because of the lower success ratio and their competition with cash buyers.
Getting under contract with a real estate agent?
Getting under contract, that's a great qualifying question. Getting under contract with a purchase agreement. I offer you, David, $400,000 worth of, for a property.
Yes.
You have to say, well, what other offers do I have? Well, right now you got 6 other offers to look at. So you're going to look at the VA offer and say, I'll think about that later, because you're going to be entertaining the conventional offers and the cash offers, which are much, much more likely to close statistically, and the real estate agents know this.
Okay, and so the perception is that the VA takes longer and is less likely to have qualified clients, or
less likely to conclude the transaction based on statistics.
Okay.
If that many contracts are assessed, your success ratio in a cash transaction is probably 9 out of 10.
I see.
Your success ratio on a VA offer that gets accepted, goes into escrow, makes its steps towards to conclude, is much less than that. There are appraisal requirements that are stringent. There are property inspections that are stringent. There are, and I could go on and on and on. I'd probably be boring you.
So, Peter, the difference between your business and other real estate agents or people that represent VA buyers is exactly what?
Oh, it's night and day. A real estate agent, if they are going to go out and represent a VA client in the marketplace, is going to be facing all of those challenges and simply look at the product as it is in the marketplace. They call it as is, where is. Here's the house. You can buy it as is if you can get your offer accepted. Do you like it or not? If not, let's go look at the next one.
Right. And that was, as I mentioned earlier, that was my experience, to the point that I'm a veteran, I did not even use my VA benefit because it wasn't working out for me. I went conventional.
Mm-hmm.
So
there you go.
Wow, so this is a news for me, and probably, I'm sure, news for the audience. So go ahead.
So imagine if you solved all of those resistance issues in the marketplace and say, you know what, I'm not a VA offer, I'm not a VA buyer, I'm a cash buyer. Now you have my real estate investment company and its resources behind you to go ahead and be in pole position at the top end of the spectrum in terms of receptivity of that offer on that property.
I see.
And most importantly, you now look at that property as a baseline, a spot to start with, and then let your imagination not run wild, but let your imagination see the finished product. What can we do to this property to really make it more livable and meet your standards. And I'd mentioned this before as it pertains to the Specially Adaptive Housing Grant. There are a lot of our men and women, especially now, coming home that need adaptations to homes.
Adaptations meaning, well, for instance, I had a friend who was handicapped. He was in a wheelchair.
Perfect.
And so you need wider doors. You
Yep.
need wider doors to the restroom, wider doors to the garage.
Exactly. So
Handrails.
how is that person who's receiving VA disability benefits and Social Security and has the income to actually qualify for the loan, how does that person envision being in that property? Really, really tough, unless we say, you know what? We're going to combine our resources with the Specially Adaptive Housing Grant. And I've talked to the offices in Cleveland, in San Diego County. They don't have a tremendous amount of call volume into their office. It's another benefit that's a lost leader that our community needs to know about. And it really, really makes, in my opinion, a magical result. But let's get back to the challenges for a moment. The client needs to qualify for financing. In conventional financing, we talk about the 4 things that are necessary: equity, credit, income, and reserves. And reserves are really equity. If you're putting down a 20% down payment, well, you'd want another few percent or so in cash reserves. And then you need to have appropriate credit, and you need to have appropriate income. Well, with a VA benefit, you don't need any equity, and you don't need any reserves.
So in the conventional financing, you need to put down 20%. With VA financing, 0%.
0. You don't need any reserves for closing costs. In our program, we design the transaction so you get into the house for $1, which is available in the marketplace for a VA buyer who can be successful with a traditional real estate agent. But when the VA buyer buys the house from us, that's our goal, that they get in. They get everything that they want for $1. They need to meet minimum credit standards, which is, in this day and age, there are minimum credit standards. But a lot of people have had, unfortunate economic experiences and have their credits a little beat up. But there are a lot of people that are working. I mean, more than 85%, supposedly, of our state is actually employed. And so that means there's a lot of veterans out there that can qualify, that do have jobs and do meet the minimum credit standards.
And many returning veterans at this point.
Sure.
And then, as you mentioned last segment, many veterans who never used their VA benefit, whether they're Vietnam veterans or Desert Storm or any Middle East conflict, that have not used their benefits. So again, let me give your number, Peter, so they can reach you at 800-883-1278, extension 586, or www.SoCalVAHomes.org. And again, the information will be listed at the beginning and the end of this program. So Peter, go ahead. So anyone out there in our audience should contact you if they have any questions.
Well, of course. Of course.
So don't just watch the program and wonder whether you qualify or not. Contact you and ask the questions.
Call us, ask the questions. I think the most challenging thing that we have in terms of making our clients truly happy is we have a goal of literally delivering the world, kind of like the Mount Everest result. And then we have to back it down a little from there and maintain everybody's expectations based on, typical budgets.
Okay.
You can't spend $1 million on a home if you can't qualify for it, and it can't appraise for $1 million. So Brandon, he works through those challenges in the field.
Let me get back to Brandon. So in the last segment, we talked a little bit about buying the home, getting into contract with the home, and then doing things, renovating the home for the buyer before they get into the home, rather than the traditional way. Like when I bought my home, I settled for whatever it was that I could settle for, and then I began putting things on the credit card. And so what you do is exactly the opposite, correct, Peter? So Brandon, go ahead and explain that again.
Yeah, so we just basically put everything to a point that you want to have in the house. We can't do everything sometimes. because we do have to deal with the VA, and they have very strict guidelines. We can't sell the house for more than it'll appraise because it's zero down. So the house has to appraise. So we have to be within a strict budget. But we know going in what you're looking for. Our most recent transaction, it literally would have been impossible for them to do this without us. And that's why that they're in their late 30s and they've never owned a home. They've been renters their entire life.
And so tell me again some of the amenities.
We were able to give them literally everything that they wanted, and the exact house, their number one choice, which it would have been impossible. We had new appliances. We have a brand new, really nice fridge. We have new cabinets. We custom designed the kitchen cabinets so that it was the way that they wanted to. We pulled out the old cabinets. We put in a new pantry and set up. Just they wanted deeper cabinets because they have a certain size plate. So we really got down to the details, and
Wow.
we made it to their dream exactly.
And
what they
can I mention one thing?
Absolutely.
One of their main criterias was this television. Now the house needs to appraise without the $5,000 80-inch TV.
Wow.
But as long as it appraises, then we can install that $5,000 80-inch television that he doesn't have to go out and get into a finance contract and pay $180 a month for 5 years to do. That's included into the purchase. We've budgeted for it. It works. It's a very, very unusual supercharged benefit for
Yes.
these clients that was part of their criteria.
Yeah, it just would be impossible for them to do this anywhere else or by themselves. And I mean, we did brand new exterior. We did hardscape on the outside, and a lot of times people buying homes in Inland Empire, Marietta, these new homes that have been built that don't have any landscaping. That's really a big part where people go into debt, go into Home Depot, put $7,000 or $8,000 on the credit card at a high interest
For
rate
a lawn or for
a lawn and stuff. So, I mean, you get brand new appliances. We did brand new faucets and bathrooms just the way that they wanted it. You know, ceiling fans and lighting in all the bedrooms. We put can lights in the kitchen. Just really made it
And then,
exactly how they wanted it.
custom 80-inch television on top of the
Yep,
wow.
it's wall-mounted LED TV. So it's
Wow.
exactly. We did a high-def wiring so that all the wires are run inside the walls to their tuner and all their DVD players and stuff. So it's going to look really good.
Wow. You guys are amazing. Brandon, thank you for
Thank you.
coming, and hopefully you'll come back.
Yeah. that'd be
Peter,
great.
we'd like to have you come back with maybe even bring one of your clients, and they can share what their experience was like working with you. And so one more time, so that definitely give Peter a call, 800-883-1278. My name is David Nava. I'm your host, owner of Brother Bear Website Design, and also we do offer an internet business and website for free for law enforcement and military veterans or active duty military, and that's mygofoods.com. So you can contact me at the station or contact me at my information, which is available at the beginning and ending credits. And join us next week for Troop TV.